I've discussed cases with thousands of people, and invariably, a majority of them ask me this one question, and I dread answering this question so much. So many people ask me this question: Mr. Lawyer, what are my chances of success? And because every single time they ask this question, just for a millisecond, the trauma of this one particular case from several years ago comes rushing in for that brief second. And then I go into the spiel of, you know what, you've got great chances. If you've got great chances, but you never know. I've had the best of cases where we lost, and we've had the worst of cases where we won. This one scenario that always keeps coming back for that 0.01 second situation is this case that transpired several years ago. A property was sold by my client to a big prominent person in Delhi, and this property was somewhere a couple of 100 kilometers away from Delhi. And after the whole deed was executed, everything was done. 6 months later, the accountant of the seller, my client, the accountant comes and says, this is a mathematical error, because of which a property which you sold for approximately 3 crores should have been sold for 3.5. Literally a multiplication error. X amount of rupees per square feet into the number of square feet, the calculation was wrong. So there is a 50 lakh discrepancy which you're supposed to get from the buyer. So my client sends a legal notice to the opposite party, to the buyer, big people in Delhi, and sends multiple legal notices, calls. There is no response by these people. So the client, on the last date when the limitation period is about to expire, 3 years have passed, my client files a civil suit for recovery. 50 lakhs you have to give, just give me and be done with it. And 2 days after that civil suit, the summons are received by the opponent. The opponent goes and registers an FIR in Delhi saying that I have been cheated because after 3 years, mind you, 3 years, I have realized that the surface area of this entire plot is less than what was promised in the sale deed. And the police immediately register FIR, which, if you are a lawyer in Delhi, you know that the police are extremely reluctant. And they say that this property, and they would say that the property is situated out of Delhi. How the hell are you making a jurisdiction for Delhi, for a Delhi, police station? Yet an FIR is registered in Delhi because they say that we had given some cash component in Delhi in this particular location, because of which it falls under the jurisdiction of this particular police station in Delhi. They register an FIR 3 days after the civil suit summons are received by them. And this is a 70-year-old man, this client. He has filed his civil suit prior in time. It's been 3 years since the transaction has taken place. All of these things transpire. The client reaches out, and I'm so confident. I've been practicing law even at that time. This is a couple of years ago. I've been practicing law for several years, and I'm so confident that the sessions court itself will grant bail, right? And I tell the client, 90% sessions court is going to grant bail. 10% there might be a small chance. High court will 100% guarantee, grant bail. And I get this case, and the opponent is quite well known, very affluent and influential in Delhi. And, I am thinking, wow, this is the David versus Goliath moment. We'll have a field day with this. And I go up to my mentor and I tell him that, this is the person against whom we are filing these, we are applying for anticipatory bail. And, I'm quite happy. This should be quite good for us, for my chamber. And my mentor at that time tells me to be careful. He told me that this Delhi influential, affluent person is very well connected, even with the judiciary. And I should not take this lightly. There are chances of mess ups happening. And I really did not pay heed to this. I go in, I argue my anticipatory bail. The judge calls for a status report. The status report is ambiguous. The police say that we want to interrogate the person. That's why we need custody of this 70-year-old man. And after interrogating him, we will go and inspect the land. And it is complete foolhardy. And I'm the judge reserves the order, and I'm 100% sure that anticipatory bail will be granted. Sessions Court judge dismisses the anticipatory bail application. I am shocked. And I say, okay, no matter, there is a possibility that, there is corruption, influence, whatever. So then we, go to the High Court of Delhi. And I'm 100% confident. I am so confident that anticipatory bail, interim protection from arrest will be granted on the first date itself. And the judge says, you go and settle the matter. We don't care. And and the judge issues notice, does not dismiss my anticipatory bail application, issues notice, but does not give me interim protection from arrest, which is in a way, dismissing my petition, because now the date is of 45 days down the line. They don't give short dates in the Delhi High Court. And if they don't give you interim protection, the police are free to arrest you. Now, this 70-year-old man is supposed to be absconding. And I tell the man, and I tell this client, and I tell his family, give me a couple of more days. We'll go to the Supreme Court. We'll get interim protection from arrest. Everything goes in your favor. The client by this time, unfortunately, has given up. There are other circumstances in the family relations of the client because of which the client says, I need to settle this. I really did not need this 50 lakhs, but I just thought that this was the right thing to do. But now I'm seeing that it's just too difficult. I may end up in jail. There are other problems in my family. I cannot do this. And the client settles. That opponent did not pay a single dime then. And I realized to what extent. And you know what? I understand that I'm sounding a little contradictory right now. Just a couple of days ago, I made a short video about how I am never really concerned about judges in Delhi being corrupt. I mean, I don't have proof. I don't say that they were corrupt. They took money. All I can say is that I could clearly see influence of some sort. Maybe it was not monetary. Maybe it was just a friendly call by a friend of a friend of a friend who said, if anticipatory bail would be denied to this person, it is always the discretion of the court. You may not grant it. It's not the biggest deal in the world. This is what I do know. A couple of years later, we have a matter. We seek anticipatory bail. Again, Sessions Court dismisses. Now we go to the High Court, and in the High Court, coincidentally, we take a senior advocate who is a little more in the good books of that same High Court judge, the same High Court judge. In a matter where if I was the judge, I would not have granted anticipatory bail. The same judge granted anticipatory bail to this particular client. Very serious offense, very serious allegations. If I would have been the judge, I would not have granted anticipatory bail. Yet, it is at that point of time that, subsequently, several years later that this happened, right? This anticipatory bail granted by the judge. And I realized that maybe, just maybe, even in the great city of Delhi, and of course, in the second subsequent case, there was no question of bribery, right? It was just the face value of the senior counsel. Maybe, just maybe, there is, justice is not just dependent on the facts of the case, but certain other factors as well. But anyways, the reason why I made this video was that whenever any client says, what are my chances of success? I say, even if you have the best chances in the world, luck may not be on your side. What's the moral of the story? Try your best.